Imagine entering 2026 feeling limitless, not anxious, not calculating every step, not wondering, will it be enough? But walking into the new year, secure, grounded, and deeply confident in divine provision. Watching doors open, opportunities multiply, and your deepest desires manifest in ways you didn't even plan for. And no, this isn't about wishful thinking, vision boards that collect dust, or pretending your bank account doesn't exist. This is about actively transforming a scarcity mindset, not by force, but through a spiritual reframe that turns fear into faith and lack into limitless possibility. Today, I want to talk about how scarcity has been quietly shaping our faith, our decisions, our prayers, and our expectations, and how 2026 can mark the year we finally break free. Because scarcity isn't just about money. It shows up in daily needs like food and supplies, in love, in peace, in joy, in confidence, in romance, in healing, in opportunities, in promotion, in travels, in rest, in believing we are worthy of good things. And the truth is, God never intended us to live small on the inside, even if we started with little on the outside. So let's talk about it. Honestly, lightly, faithfully, and yes, sometimes humorously, because if we don't laugh at how we got here, we'll cry.